Welcome back, everyone. If you haven't already watched the Montessori approach to dementia and caregiving, I would suggest you watch part 1 first. In this episode, we are going to be playing part 2. This is a project in collaboration with the internationally respected Montessori and aging specialist, Jennifer Brush. We collaborated on this project, and the goal is to assist caregivers to have a better relationship with their loved one with dementia and to have their home life more peaceful. In this time where there are some struggles with having to find caregivers spending more time and taking more responsibility looking after their loved ones, what we wanted to do is to show this video series again and present you with some strategies on how you can support your loved one to live a purpose-filled life, but also how you as a caregiver can reduce your stress and have a more peaceful home life. So let's watch the Caregiving and Dementia Part 2.
Hi, welcome back. I'm glad that you've joined us for part 2 of Understanding Responsive Behaviors. I'm Jennifer Brush, and this presentation was developed by Montgomery County, Maryland's Caregiver Support Program. I'd like you to grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. Think about what you'd like to be doing when you're 80. How would you like to spend the day? I'd like you to make a short list of 4 or 5 things that are most important to you to be able to do when you're 80. Now that you have your list, think about the items on your list and how you imagine yourself at 80. Do you want to sit around all day with nothing to do? Do you want to be dependent on others? Do you want to forget all the warm, happy memories of your lifetime? Do you want to feel like your life has lost meaning and purpose, or that you're stuck in one place all day with nothing to do? Of course not. We want to live an active lifestyle, a life that has meaning and purpose, and people with dementia do as well. Those feelings of needing to live a meaningful life do not change because someone has dementia. Unfortunately, many people with dementia are experiencing these negative things as their daily reality. In part 1 of this presentation, we briefly introduced the Montessori philosophy of living. In a Montessori way of life, people have meaning, productive lives. They care for themselves, help to care for others. They contribute to the community. All of these are very important daily activities. So, for example, you can care for yourself by bathing and dressing in a positive way. This increases our self-respect and our dignity. Many of us just simply feel better when we're clean and that we know that we look nice. We can care for others within the family or the community. In a Montessori community, we have the opportunity to help others who might not be able to complete a task on their own. Okay? So, for example, someone may read to another person who has vision impairment. Being hospitable and participating in social interactions is a need that all of us have. So, entertaining guests, pouring tea for a friend, and holding celebrations that have to do with important milestones in our life are all life roles that are very important to maintain. Maria Montessori was a doctor and an educator who focused on affording children the opportunity to explore and develop at their own ability, according to their own unique needs and interests. She developed an approach to education based on scientific observation of children from birth to adulthood. It's an approach that values the human spirit, the physical, social, emotional, and cognitive development of a person. Dr. Montessori developed special materials that allow individuals to work independently. So in the classroom, children are empowered to choose their own work, to use it appropriately, and then put it away without help. And these are the same goals that we have in dementia care. We want individuals to be as independent as possible. We want them to have a meaningful place in the community. We want them to be able to make contributions to the home, and we want them to possess a high self-esteem. Dr. Montessori developed many different special materials for children that were designed to help them learn at different developmental stages. She put many materials into children's environment, and then she kept only those that engaged them. This photo is an example from one Montessori classroom. You can see how everything is very neatly organized for the children. They can see it, they can reach it, they don't need to ask for help to access it. We've learned from the way that a Montessori classroom is set up that older adults benefit from having the materials accessible and visible as well. There are so many meaningful activities that people with dementia can still do. Gardening, knitting, household tasks, painting, reading, exercising. They love listening to music. There are numerous tasks that have to do with mealtime that people with dementia can still do. Playing cards, just socializing and being with friends. And maintaining those important life roles is another way that we can give purpose to people's lives. So looking for ways to give a person with dementia an opportunity to teach someone something new, or to give his or her opinion, or to volunteer, take care of a pet, help organize things in the home. One way to begin is with familiar everyday tasks, things people enjoy that occur daily. So for example, if your husband never vacuumed, I wouldn't suggest trying to get him to vacuum now that he has dementia. However, if he was a gardener, or if he enjoyed doing yard work, that would be something to start with. You'll need to keep the materials out where he can see them. This is going to serve as a cue or a reminder about the task. Sometimes we leave a large note or a sign next to the tools that are needed, okay, to help the person initiate the activity. And then we want to make it available every day. Make it part of the routine so it becomes a habit again for the person to do it. So how can we make each day a bit easier for you and your loved one with dementia? I found what works best for me is just being prepared. That means, based on knowing what the person likes to do, I have a list of easy things I can fall back on that I know the person enjoys doing. So for example, that may mean watering the plants, washing the vegetables, drying the silverware, looking at a book about photography, watching a video or a show about trains, sorting cards into suits. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it does have to be handy and ready to go so you can easily do it with your loved one. I like to keep all the material in a box or a bag so it's ready to go when we have the opportunity. Planning is an important skill that we use every day to carry out activities. We also need to be able to sequence, which is to do things in the correct order. People with dementia have difficulty with both planning and sequencing. For us, a multi-step task may not be very difficult. For someone with dementia, it could be overwhelming. Let's think about a very common everyday task, something we always do, brushing our teeth. What I'd like you to do is pause this presentation, grab that piece of paper and a pencil, and write down every single step that's involved in brushing your teeth. Make sure that someone reading your list could follow all the instructions successfully. That was hard, wasn't it? There's more steps than you thought there would be. Look at your steps again. Did you combine any different actions? Could you break them down even further? Did you miss any steps? I bet some of your steps could be broken down into smaller steps. Most people take simple day-to-day tasks for granted, but when you actually break the task down, it's very complex. For someone with dementia who has problems planning, sequencing, communicating, and remembering, any of these steps can be difficult. If we want someone to be successful at participating in more meaningful daily activities, we need to look at the tasks and how we're giving directions to them. We need to break things down into very simple, small steps. You may need to use gestures to help with comprehension, and you may need to write the instructions and steps down on a piece of paper for them in large print so they can follow along. Here are a few tips to help you be successful. Place items that are needed for activities in clearly labeled boxes, trays, or baskets, and put them in a place where the person can easily see them. Write down the steps for each task so the person can follow along. Look around to see if there are any opportunities for simplifying the environment. So here's a good example in the kitchen. Sometimes it's very hard for people to find things that are behind cabinet doors. I like to remove one or two of the cabinet doors in the kitchen and rearrange the items in the cabinet so they're really easy to find, that people know exactly where they go. I also like to put a small table, like a card table in the kitchen or the living room, and put small projects, simple puzzles, crafts, reading material on the table so there's always something for the person to do. And then it's really helpful if you make a daily schedule or a chore chart with just 2 or 3 things written there for each day that the person can follow. So here's what you can do at home if you want to prevent responsive behaviors. Think about the life roles or hobbies that the person has enjoyed in the past. Make a list of any of the supplies or materials that are needed for the task or the role. Think about any way that the activity might need to be simplified so it's easier for the person to do. Practice with the person, demonstrate the activity first, and then let them watch and then join in. So you're not expecting them to do it on their own right away. Keep your movements slow and simple. People with dementia will follow your movements. You really don't need to talk very much or give too many directions. It's easier for them to just follow your movements. And then if you really want this to be successful, make it part of the daily routine. Try practicing or engaging in the activity every day at the same time. Here's how you might go about helping your loved one to stay engaged. I think the trickiest times are when you're not at home. So for example, your dad might not be able to live at home anymore, but he is able to spend time by himself when you're at work. You want him to feel needed and that he's contributing to the home while you're at work. Use a notepad or a small whiteboard and list the chores he can help with, plus something fun you know that he would enjoy. Put the supplies and any tools needed right by the list. Here's an example. Thanks for helping while I'm at work. I'll be home at 5 o'clock. Wash the carrots and potatoes, fold the towels, dust the family room, enjoy listening to music. I put your Frank Sinatra CD in the player, just hit play. When you practice an activity every day with the person, it becomes a habit. Pretty soon the person will start doing it by themselves or just after a very simple reminder by you. We all learn and remember new things through practice, even people with dementia. Even people with dementia can learn new things through practice. Try not to do all of the household chores and all of the household tasks for the person with dementia. Because when they have a chance to care for the community, to care for the home environment by doing things like cleaning or washing or raking, they're living purposefully. And when they have an opportunity to retain their previous roles, such as parent or teacher, volunteer, this really enhances their self-esteem and it increases their independence and their self-reliance.
Greetings from New Hampshire. I'd like to tell you about a client that I'm working with right now. He is a gentleman who lives on a farm, and he is at a stage in his dementia where he is realizing that he can't do what he used to do, and he can't remember the 6 grandchildren that live with him in his house, and this makes him very sad and anxious. They were having to medicate him, and so we talked about giving him jobs that he could do to help fill his once busy days. So an idea we came up with is one of the things he's been able to do is to clean eggs so that they can sell them in their farm stand, but he was breaking them. So we had 2 ideas that we're implementing. One was to find imitation eggs and have him clean those. The other idea that I think we're going to try this week is to hard boil eggs, and even if we have to go out into the coop and dirty them, that we will then bring them back and he will clean them, give him that job, ask him if he will help us do that job. So that's a hope we have that it will help his day. The other thing is he's having trouble with his language. He's having trouble with his remembering of names. He lives in a very busy home with his wife and daughter's family with 6 granddaughters, and he can't remember names. So I've suggested name tags. The family's going to try that, and they also are going to make him a little memory book with simple photographs and names that he can flip through to help for him to recall the names. The other idea is, because language doesn't come as easily for him, we've made some conversation boards that I've tried out with him. One is about his drinking buddies that he used to go to camp with, and I've listed their names and the kinds of beer that they drink, and in conversation with him using those, he clearly relaxed and was much more at ease and laughed, and it was a real transformation to see in him using that. And then we came up with another one for ice cream, because it's something that he and his wife like to do, is have ice cream, but he couldn't recall the names of them. So we did a little conversation board around ice cream, and there was lots of joking and laughing, and he felt good, and his wife was really pleased to see him relax. And we're hoping that with filling his day with some more meaningful jobs and roles, that they will not need as much medication and that he'll feel better. So those are ideas I got from Jennifer and have changed my way of working with folks with dementia.
We all appreciate having enjoyable things to do that bring purpose to our life, even people with dementia. So remember, instead of removing objects, restricting movements, disagreeing, or correcting, always look for a reason for any undesirable behavior and provide a way to let the person engage in a meaningful activity, particularly one that relates to their past. Most behaviors are just a means of communicating that a need isn't met. And often that need is to be active, safe, useful, or busy. Thank you so much for participating in this presentation. We're very glad that you took the time to join us. And if you're a caregiver in Montgomery County, there are lots of resources, educational opportunities, and supports available to you. If you're interested in learning.
So I think you can see that Jennifer Brush really knows what she's talking about. And this series that we've shown you part 1 and part 2 provide our family caregivers with more information to better understand their loved one and how they can make just modest, simple changes in the home to assist with having a more comfortable and harmonious life. If you need immediate assistance as a caregiver, please contact Montgomery County's Aging and Disability Services on 240 777 3000. Thank you for joining the county's caregiver support programs, Engage at Home. Stay in touch and we will have more interesting episodes that will warm your heart and provide you with information. Go well.